Wait, am I like the least qualified person to be talking about this? When was the last time I topped up? April 24th of 2025, when I spent $5 on a starter pass. Wow. And the time before that, looks like I gambled on some costume boxes back in FWC2. I might be too poor for my own video here. Well, for anyone still willing to listen to this brokey, let's try to sort through which premium items are actually good, what's overrated, and everything in between. This is gonna go mostly in alphabetical order, and I say mostly because I don't always use their exact name, and also because I'm sure someone is gonna look under A for amps, but the full name of that is Scroll of Amplification, which is gonna be under S. Let's start with activation. I'm gonna put this under a highly efficient, but only if you're a mage or an build poster. If you're a ringmaster who doesn't have 200% casting speed, you do see a casting speed increase from using it as well, but there's generally very few cases where the extra healing throughput makes the difference between living and dying, given you're not horribly undergeared. Then we have the Adventurer's Fortune Flask. It's only on FWC, but if you're spending any amount of money to help you level, this is always your first purchase, so I think it's fair to say it's basically mandatory. Extended Battle Pass. You'd think this is basically mandatory, but I would consider it just highly efficient. The exception being if it's the first days of FWC, in which case I'd move it up to basically mandatory because it's the most cost-efficient way to have a vendor that doesn't expire in 3 hours. Also, the second page can be made high or even full stamina for doing giants on tower floors 1 through 3. You don't want to miss out on those giant kills since they have a much higher weapon drop rate than outside giants. Next, we have Clarity Potion. In the later levels, when you can use it to a 200% casting speed, it's basically mandatory unless you specifically get extra casting speed on your gear to not need it. Outside of that, it's quality of life, or not worth bothering with depending on who you ask. Concoction of Profuse Bleeding, also known as Critical Damage Potion. Overrated. The best case scenario for it is maybe for 135 Jesters and Rangers. It might be a 5% DPS increase for them. Maybe. Anyway. Defense Upcut Stone. Writing it as 20% defense is probably what misleads so many people to thinking this is good. But there is a way to know about how much defense this is worth. Look at your gauntlets. 20% of the defense on your gauntlets is how much defense this thing actually gives you. Which is to say, less than a pen 01 until you have your 150 set. I'll say it's good but skippable if you happen to have your 150 set while leveling at any mob that double attacks in Coral. But otherwise, don't bother unless you got it for free. Overrated. Element Attack Stones. They only affect auto attacks, so they're useless for AoEs. For auto attackers though, these are second only to upcuts. Element Defense Stones. Unlike the regular defense upcut, these provide percentage mitigation and are very strong at all levels. Elixir of the Sorcerer. In case the name didn't give it away, they are only good for mages, and build posters, and AoE ringmasters. But honestly, still unimpressive even for them. I mean, they're good, but skippable. Extra bag. Obviously quality of life, but there's a bit of nuance. If you're like most people and pause to sell your drops even with consumables running, these technically give you a slight EXP rate bump because you don't need to pause to sell your drops as often. If you're like me and only sell your drops after the hour, this will basically pay for itself and then some just from holding extra stuff to sell. Couple ring, and specifically the fancy cubic ring which only costs 100 FC, is actually really good for the times when your ringmaster randomly dies, so you can lodestar and have them couple teleport right back to you. Quality of life, but technically an indirect buff to your XP per hour. Grilled Eel. Obviously not made for grinding, but you need extra HP to survive something like Red Meteor, I don't know. Sometimes this can quite literally be your only option. Housing template. In this context, specifically the F-Coin one. It's just something only whales would buy to hyper-optimize their first day of FWC. Outside of that specific context, no one should be buying this. Housing NPCs on the other hand, specifically PvE damage, EXP, and speed, while small, are obviously unmatched in efficiency given how long they last. Vendor time extension is honestly a strong candidate for the buy first tier. If you're not a regular battle pass buyer, I do strongly encourage you to get a house and it as soon as possible. If you want to get deep into the pet business, all the Mac NPCs are money printers, but that's a topic for another day. Obviously, you can't use these without a house template, so if you're not the kind of big fish that's buying the F-Coin template on day 1 of FWC, you're gonna want to wait for FC prices stabilize before buying a house with Pena. And don't forget, housing NPC timers can be paused by putting the NPCs away if you want to get even more efficient with them. Madrigal Blink. Obviously quality of life by getting around faster, but also, if you don't care about your Ringmaster's EXP, you can give them a bunch of these so when they die to a random aggro, they can blink right back after Lodestar, which is an indirect increase to your hourly EXP rate. Limited offer package deals. These obviously depend on what's in them, but if you're going to use everything in there anyway, it's going to be more efficient than buying them individually. Generally anyway. There's actually been multiple cases in the past where the price of the contents in a package actually costs more than buying them individually, so double check before buying. Pick up pet. Spoiler alert, this is the only thing going into buy first. But there's an argument for quality of life since you can just alternate buying baby giggle boxes with your main and RM. But eventually the cost of that adds up, so you'll probably want a permanent one at the end of the day. Typically, it's better to sell high demand F-Coin items like amps and just buy a pickup pet from someone else rather than buy one outright with F-Coin. Potion of Recklessness. Skills can't crit, so this is only for auto attackers. It's honestly pretty bad before 105. Once you have some good crit damage from 105 gear, it starts being good and only gets better until you hit that in-game point where you have so much crit you stop needing it. But when it's good, it's highly efficient. Power Scroll. Bad. Gives flat attack which benefits from exactly 2 things, PvE damage and element weakness. Supercharged is OP when you're Vagrant, and it's still pretty good until you're 60. Beyond that, don't bother. Refresher Hold and Vital Drink X. This is quality of life, but it also prevents any situation where you run out of MP or FP, which can sometimes mean your Ringmaster stops healing you when you go splat. Also, they give out a ton of these, so hopefully you don't have to buy them all that often. Amps. There's the regular and the stackable. The regular one is obviously really good in main servers. On FWC though, it's fair to call them skippable since if you have the Adventurer's Fortune Flask, they're basically like low amps. Stackable is obviously not even remotely sanely priced. Only the biggest, sweatiest whales would consider buying them. Combined Party Scroll, also known as the Pink Scroll. I'm gonna put this under basically mandatory since you only need 2 hours a day for this to be that good. Not to mention how reassuring it is to know you'll always have party skills when you need it. If you're thinking of using upcuts, you should absolutely be using this. The more you grind while it's up, the better it gets. Permanent Party Scroll. So this is one of those things where once you've had it, you can never go back. Convenience of not having to make or buy a party anytime you want to grind or do bosses can't be overstated. If you're an Azri or higher and are playing as AoE, using Combined Party Scroll, and only using Link Attack, the party will always gain points faster than you can use them, so this scroll can actually have infinite value. Scroll of Resurrection. It's a quick way to get your RM up when they die. I would consider this whale stuff. Keep them on your main too though, so you don't have to struggle to res yourself after a messy wipe. Scroll of Return Town. Best thing to have on hand if you want to sell drops while your amps are running. Quality of life. Scroll of Sprint. Nearly useless on mages, best for melees. Still consider it whale only though. Server Shouts. If you need to buy something that's hard to find or sell a big drop, nothing beats this. Just try to fight the temptation to waste it on yapping. Quality of life, but it can indirectly make you level faster if, say, find you the last armor piece earlier than you would have without. Speed set and stat cloaks. People love to overrate these, but they're not very impactful. I say don't bother. Unless the speed fashion is really good, in which case it's a buy first, even before the pickup pet. Stat Flasks, also overrated. Special shout out to Flask of Stone though for making AoE grinding so much safer. That one specifically can be considered quality of life up until Kailoon. Upcut Stone. This really is just the definition of highly efficient. Wings, and other fast flying items. Obviously quality of life, but there's a part of me that wants to put it at the bottom just because people overrate it so much. So there you have it. A lot of these you'll get more than you can ever hope to use if you stick to the same character long enough, but obviously new characters don't have that luxury, especially in the short term. Anyway, there's something to think about for anyone planning their budget for this coming FWC. That's all I have to cover, so I will see you around.